that can happen. That's a rehearsal for your death. That means when the death happens, you partly experience already while you are utterly living. Therefore, this is called living. It's a dream, yes. But a lucid dream, you understand you are going into the magic world. You are going to the unscientific, so-called, not materialistic world. But you can't communicate it because other people will put you into the asylum. This guy it's a dream. And that is why the ecstasy and the drugs and the hallucination and the, caffeine, everything is helping it. So it has a huge history from the old point of view. They have some kind of knowledge, but it is chemically artificial. It's a the chemistry. But your thing is physics, chemistry, mystics, meditation, mindfulness, and you are a newcomer. You are a newcomer. Now onward, you see your body as a novelty, as a beginner. Because you know body is the anchor for the dream world to the... Venerable Jnanarama says, in the day you have a daydream, in the night you have a night dream. Both you are in a dream. The Buddha says, the commoners in a dream, just like a chick inside the eggshell. When the chick is growing, its a beak as well as the nail come to the shell. And it sees outside world. See means light. It is pressing, it is becoming uncomfortable because it's the same. And feel like hitting the shell. By either beak or nail. The sporakatu, that when they are fighting, they have the two specific nails. They come to they attack it. That means they are breaking their shell, their bubble. But the chicken, the mother chicken never do it. Then the embryo will be damaged. It has to kick. The Buddha says, I am the first chick came out of the world. Rest of the people still within the shell. In the daydream and night dream. They get Nobel Prize, they get Magsaysay Prize, they get that scientific discovery, this time, all bullshit. They are not awakened. Awakening start with the lucid dream in one way, and Carl Jung, he had a lot of interpretations and kind of, he told, Sigmund Freud taught you hypnotic analysis, it is digging a tunnel to the subconscious. Subconsciously, you and me are the same. It's a shit. It's a toilet pit. 7 years old. You can't make it a drinking water well. But understanding underneath we are the same. Tip of the iceberg, we have a lot of differences. Now you are going from the tip to the berg. You have so much frightening because your identity lost. Your margin, images, everything lost. Ken Wilber, writing the book, No Boundary, it was so enlightening. But when I asked that book from the Kanalayo and his father, Analayo told, don't read Bhante, these fellows are not spiritual people. Then I told, never mind. I can read. Then father told, Bhante, if you need, I will sponsor the book. I wanted to give you something. I have now 2 books. Nilamba only we had 1 book. 100 people reading, ultimately book gone to the dog. Everything is scroll pages. Because he is a spiritual person. Ken Wilber now appear in the Buddha in the gas pump and the other places he says. It made him parallel and lateral thinking, and the horizontal and lateral thinking, integral thinking, and he has written. But the No Boundary is the best book. The answer he has given is that if I am to make boundaries, you have to take up a cycle. Understand? So if you take, this is called the one part. And if it is there, it has a center. And it's rotating, come back to the same point. Imagine a tangent. Tangent has no center. Tangent will go to the infinitum. When you becoming a tangent, your characters are losing. Your personality traits, liking and dislike, it is happening in the crooked line. Then there is a center. It is coming back to the same point. He has written a small diagram and he says the arch and the tangent. The tangent is your imaginary time, because Buddha experienced it, you are just believing there is a tangent, there is no more. You are aiming at the infinitum and your center, you can't, it's also infinitum. But people happy with this an arch is aesthetic. Diagrams. But straight line, tasteless. So no boundary means straight. Vanchanika, Shata, Mayavi are the characters Buddha says personality traits. You have your likings and dislikings. You have your way of thinking. You protect it as myself. And that's your whole life. That's your whole argument. That's your whole language. But when you are becoming straight, you are no more. You are just merged into the Buddha knowledge. And same knowledge is in the Bible. Exactly. You go to the Proverbs and Psalms, Psalms, how do you call it? Psalms. And you go to the Quran. There are some Nabinayaka, his basic writings. And maybe Old Testament. They believe it because that truth is not a hidden one. But we want to have our identity. With identity we are going to enlighten. It's a contradictory, it's a mad. You are in asylum. You have to understand when the crooked line be slowly becoming straight, you feel drowsy. You feel nauseatic. Because your characters are losing. So this is philosophizing. This is called contemplating. The Buddha says when you have theory knowledge, you must have practical knowledge. Between you must have contemplative knowledge. There we are different. But in a discussion, we can agree to disagree. Understand? We can agree. He and me, daily we are fighting. Evening, 1 or 2 hours sometimes, we are fighting. Still he is Buddha Rakkhisa, myself is Dhammajiva. Daily we know we are going to discuss, daily we will get entangled, but we say bye-bye, we'll see you morning, tomorrow. Agree to disagree. Earlier I was vehemently fighting, I will kill other person, I can't tolerate. But I don't know how it came into me, I think now a little bit with me, otherwise I can't run Satipasala, I can't run Nissarana. Now I am going to go to the global village, universal village. There I have to accept all the religion, all the people and all the countries, because otherwise I am patriotic, I am Sinhalese Buddhist. So that is the point. Lucid dream is the Gabriel.
Thank you very much. Are there any signs to distinguish between this kind of, let's say, drowsiness, lucid dreaming and normal sleepiness?
No, that means you are again asking how to develop my ego into this muddy place. You have to have a trial and error. Only system is trial and error. Sacrifice your selfishness, your life, your body. Go prepared. I am ready to jump into water.
Right.
Come or go Chicago.
Thank you.
Very difficult for Japanese, for Germans. You scare mind. And Jews, worst. You lucky you are here. Otherwise they will say we are conspiring against Jews. No. So stereotype, very bright, very good. But Jews are Jews. I'll kill you. I'll smash you. Lucky that we are fighting in front of, not behind the back. Okay, if there are no other comments and kind of thing, we can go to the Attadanda Sutta.
Bante.
1 minute, Kumara.
Yeah.
Kumara, 1 minute.
Good morning, Maha,
Yes,
Thero. I have one question because I experienced this yesterday. While I was walking on the meditation mat, I felt a sudden lack of pain.
Lack of pain.
Yeah, a sudden lack of pain. And then after that, I analyzed this lack of pain, and I realized there is pain, but it's not affecting my mind. And then I went to sit, and I could sit for an hour plus. And today, so I told myself, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. So I went to sleep I woke up this morning and the lack of pain is still there. And it's not the lack of pain, but it's the lack of a mental pain. Because I know there is pain, but I don't know that. I know that my mind is not affected by the pain. And there is no fear because there's no mental pain. So I went to walk the usual route. I went to do everything the usual way. I realized it's missing. It's not there anymore. And then I don't feel anxious. I don't feel fear. I don't feel the usual fear or I don't feel pain. I could sit 2 hours in the meditation. There is lack of the 5 hindrances. Very pronounced lack of 5 hindrances. I could see there is no sloth and torpor. I could see there is no restlessness. When there's restlessness, I could see it too. I could see everything much clearly now. And I wonder if I'm going crazy.
Sure, before coming you was crazy. Now crazy is highlighting. But the thing is, even lack of pain, ego is searching, find an anchorage. Ego is searching a sign. That's why the analysis. Ego is 100% undisturbed now. When you are doing unwholesome, you can see the craziness. You can see ego. Police come and nab you. You can put into the jail. But you are not doing wrong thing. You are doing good things. And then all of a sudden blanks happens. Now ego is going to fix himself. Am I crazy? Can I analyze it? Is 5 hindrances are there? It's a mental pain or it's a physical pain? All these things are mind games. And the Buddha is telling, reduce to the minimum. And see, ego is 100%. Even in the minimum. Okay? Now you have to have a second video camera. Go to the bare minimum. Go to the full concentration, good mindfulness and nothing. No hindrances. But ego is 100%. Even go to the Neva Sanya, Na Sanya Ayatane. 8th, the Arupa Jhana. Ego is full-fledged. So there, what a kind of searching microscope you must have, or telescope you must have. How the ego maintain even no defilements, even no merits, even no the physical pain, mental pain, but the ego is 100% living. So we can talk, we can share, and then we see it is superhuman. It's utterly spiritual. Utterly spiritual, but still we are the same like unmeditated person. He also 100% ego. I am having a spiritual ego. My ego is whitewashed. It's called Dhammuddacca. It is happening only for the meditators. It's a super kind of madness. Double mad. So boost dose of madness. So in a discussion we can thrash off. Next time you can go prepared. Yes, I am a good man. I have no hindrances. But I have to understand, Buddha mentioned, still you are. Mama Vemi, the 3 and 4 ways Buddha says, Mama Dang Metta. No, it is I am, I will be, I was, and no self. No self also fabrication. Now you are going to creep into that tunnel, that cage, that cave. And you say, I am very protected, I am a religious man, I know this and that. But ego is full-fledged. If I say, you will think I am challenging you. If it is so, no communication. You have to understand, even you with a fully spiritual being, ego is there. See, so people call healers. See, people says blessers, giving blessings. Utterly mad. And see the people chasing them and giving money and praise and everything. So how to escape? This whole world is mad. They need not any nibbana. They want to have the pleasurable life. So you can bless them. You can tell them how to go to the no pain situation. They will say, you are a spiritual. But you are still a shit. That's the way we have to think. We are the beginners. We are always beginners. And tell other practitioners. Don't tell other mad people. because they can't understand what they are talking. But we say, please, darling, there's no difference you and me. I am having some unwholesome. You don't have that unwholesome. But both of us having the 100% ego. Atta is very difficult. Because the Hinduism will praise you like anything because you are almost like Brahma. And there's one person called Dan Brown. I don't know, I searched anywhere. He got 4 people, came to America, top class people, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Muslim, and some other maybe, and told we are going to have a research, whereby we will give you a small mantra, like breath, you keep on practice. Don't worry about the spiritual part. Don't worry about the sloth, moral shame and the fear. Quickly they came up to this level, everything appearing and disappearing, and they are in a kind of a bliss. Ask them to interpret. The Hindu person will say, this is really Brahma Padartha, the element of Brahma. Our people told in this life we can't experience it. But you see, thank you very much, you took me for the experiment. And when you go to the Hindu, when you go to the Muslim, he says, oh, this is what Nabhinayaka, our leader, saw in the cave. And he saw this burning cloth. And his wife interpreted it as this God message. And the other people say, Christian, this is Almighty God. And they says, after the death only you can go there. And the Buddhist person says, you have to be careful. This is a perversion of your mind. Mind took perversion in order to establish mindfulness, the ego. Now you have no ill will. You have no unwholesome thing. They are very easy to develop the ego. But you are pure. If you assume I am a pure, I have no ego, that's the biggest difficult thing. Buddha says it is vipassana upakkilesa. Upakkilesa means perversions. 10 perversions in Visuddhimagga. Obhasa, Jnana, Piti, Passaddi, Upekha, 10. All of them are magnetizing. You feel you are a spiritual being. So I was specializing it. And then I read Surangama Sutta. Have you heard about Surangama Sutta? Surangama Sutta explains 50 demons, including these 10. I was keep on reading. Luckily I got a single translation. Very difficult to read it. Then I went to Bhikkhu Bodhi and told Bhante, this cannot be a fabrication, because even in Theravada Buddhism we have 10. They get trapped. Successful yogis getting trapped. Because they are obhasa means light. Jnana means you have a bright understanding, I mean lucidity, as he mentioned. Piti, you see that no friction. Passaddi, everything is calming down. And upekha, you feel whatever, rushing and passing away, good or bad, same. And then upatthana, mindfulness is 100%. Day and night, and 10 such points. So they try to exceed the teacher. Teacher says, be careful. Still the ego is there. Then they will complain, teacher don't have that experience, therefore he is undermining my experience. I am so and so. I am enlightened. The Mahasi had to explain in the Sammasana Jnana, the thickest chapter, is people before becoming Sotapanna, they think they are Arahant. Because in this moment they are so blissful. But it's a mind, within that mind fabricate this and that to hide, still the ego is there. So nowadays I am translating that Surangama Sutta into Sinhala. I doubt I can do a good translation, but lucky enough one professor in Peradeniya University translated. And you don't believe that book published in Buddhist Publication Society, it is only publishing Theravada books. This book publication only limited edition, 500 books all gone. Luckily I got a Sinhala translation. And Bhikkhu Bodhi gave me a very good translation. One of the Chinese masters given English translation. The commonly available one is some normal language. But I read it. Still I can't communicate because language is very poor. But this is something shareable experience among our humans. People think, no, it is God, beyond the sky. And we can't go. We have to go beyond the life. Buddha is the only person who says, in this very life. In this life itself. So we are sharing. Buddhism is not 2,600 years old. It is crispy. It is here and now. But next moment you lose everything. But you know you have the potential, you have the possibility, so you have to live up to that. Go to Singapore, the best place. The worst place, I am sorry. This is full of sex, sensuous pleasure. We people go for a few hours and go to that supermarket and go there and come back. We went to Singapore. For gold, Singapore. For business, for Singapore. We prepare tea, they blend and they get the brand name. Hong Kong, Singapore, the best places. So, this is my interpretation. I don't know whether others happy to share it with or whether you like to accept it. It's almost like the lucid dream, but mind you, ego is 100%. Just be aware. Let that happen and see how much I become happy. That is the ego. You are nourishing, you are milking, you are feeding, you are fertilizing ego. But in a discussion we can talk. Therefore ego is threatened. Because it's not your knowledge. Buddha knowledge is I am pumping. You have to go into that with your whole human knowledge. You have to go with the systematic, linear system to go in that situation. And then, see, it is not me. It is not mine. It is not myself. But that's a not undeniable experience. When you having that, all the other members in the humankind share it with. Because you are good vibration. One person meditate, the global warm reduces. One person meditate, the defilements, that is the pollution, internal external reduces. That's why the rising of the Buddha is a good thing. One person. Even the hellfire stop at that moment. So therefore don't consider it as your experience. Everyone is sharing. Specifically in the discussion we express with the limited language. What a wonderful thing. Everywhere is a meditation center. Each thought moment is a meditating time. Each posture is meditative posture. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you very much.
So we have already used, yes, we are very happy to hack Jews. You have to tell the name, you have to say, I am a Jew.
Toda Rabba, I am a Jew.
I am a Shylock. No, 1 kilo of flesh. Shylock name. The merchant's name?
The
Venice,
merchant of Venice?
The merchant of the Venice. What's his name?
I don't know.
Who compromised for 1 kilo? No, Shakespeare's language, but the Jew's name. Shylock. Shylock's 1 kilo. Okay?
Thank you. On the past 2 to 3 days, it's been quite hard for me to meditate sitting. I get to a stage where I notice that my breath is very, very subtle, very quiet, very calm. And I'm trying to just experience all the sounds and all the feelings that arise. But it's hard for me to differentiate when actually do I stop. How do I know that the current session of meditation is finished? How can I tell myself, now it's okay to get up, now it's okay to stop, now we move on to the next thing? That's it.
Yeah, that is called posture junction. From sitting to stand. Bent hand, stretching hand. The posture junctions, you are not meditating, but you are mindful. So therefore don't use the term meditation. Use the mindfulness, not only sitting posture and only with the breath. Even the other secondary object happens and the wandering happens, still the mindfulness is intact. Meditation may be broken. Sitting person, get up. Get up person, walking. Walking person, coming and sitting. So each and everything you have to thin slice the time. Action you do it in a small fractions. From sitting to stand up. From moving, thin slicing of time. And each one, if you see with the mindfulness, you see time is stretched. And you are accountable. You can. Even when you are killing an animal, even while you are doing a robbing, or even in your sexual intercourse, that you can be mindful. That is what the Tantra Bhavana. Tantric. At the beginning you have to stop killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering, everything. But slowly when it is happening, you see when everything is cut into small pieces, it is not a crime, it is not a meritorious deed. They are fractions. They are particles. They are good, no bad. When they agglomerate, only good and the bad happens. When you thin slice the time, best thing is posture junction. You understand posture? Not the same posture, junction. Posture junction. So when it is happening, you are no more. You can't claim I am meditating. But the Buddha says, Satadipateya sabbe dhamma. Whether you know or not, mindfulness is the king, ruler. Not for the meditator. Even the people don't believe Buddha or Dhamma, that is the case. So you have to understand, let the Dhamma to work, let the mindfulness to work, let the body make comfortable swinging and kind of, don't promote it. Whenever doing, look at it. That is called thin slicing of time. And you can see, whatever the difficulty, mindfulness is intact. Even in your death, mindfulness is sustainable. But you think, no, eyes are winking, when you are swallowing something, when you are stretching and bending, you think it is not good for meditation. Not good for meditation, but good for mindfulness. So therefore, we ask them to remove the mindfulness, replace it by remove the meditation and replace with the mindfulness. Then you are always mindful. Not only in the posture junction, even in the posture, because you know it. That we call in the jargon, you are mindful about your unmindfulness. You can agree to disagree. No harm. You can do anything. If you do mindfully, the less defiled. Venerable Maha Anuruddha. He says, when I am looking at here, I have an urge to look at the right side. I feel like looking at the left side. I feel like stretching the arm. Then he says, now I am in a fairly under control, but when I look at the right, I know it is more defiled. That's why the urge is happening. So, knowing that, I look at the right, I know defiled, but I am not get inflicted. Because I go prepared. That is my satipatthana. This looking is, I know it is luring. You are leading to more sensuous pleasure. That's why you feel like looking at the right, looking at the left. But if you go prepared, that is not inflicting you, that is not defiling you, because you go prepared. That preparedness is what you call diligence, the vigilance, apamada. Apamadena bhikkhave sampadeta. That's the Buddha's last word. That's the first thing in the scouting. Be prepared. Have you done scouting? No. Have you heard about Baden-Powell? Sir Baden-Powell? No. He's the person started with the Girl Guide and the Boy Scout. The bhikkhu is that. Monk means that. We must be prepared for anything. Of course, we are living in the cave and sitting and meditating. But if the tsunami is going to happen or fire going to happen, don't pray. By Almighty God. No. Get up and do the thing. You must be a prepared one. Good experience.
Thank you.
Sometimes I walk in meditation or sitting meditation. I think I want to thinking. My mind want to thinking. I observe that. I find my mind want to thinking, and when I observe the want, the mind stop the thinking. Is that like stop? Is this like the suppressions? This is the suppression. Can I do that?
Yeah, one example I can give. You know, in this damn climate, there is no sun. Now it is very rainy. Damn climate. Lot of germs can happen. Lot of fungus can happen. Lot of the bacteria can grow because very heavy humidity. You understand? Germs are very happy with the humidity. Okay? When the sun happens, under the sun, it penetrates through even the tiny holes, kill all the germs. Exposed to sun means the cheapest germ killer. It leaves only the saprophytic bacteria. You know saprophytic? It's killing everything, but it's not pathogenic. It kills all the pathogenic bacteria, and saprogenic, that is what make compost. So if you expose to the sun, all the germs become a compost. Saprophytic bacteria will be the majority, and exactly if you do it with mindfulness, it is like a sun. Sunlight. It becomes less defiled, less unwholesome. This we have 52 books in Tipitaka, Buddha's teaching, 52 books. Each book is quoted by this Buddha's sutta. This is called the Bharanduka Vagga, Tathagatappa Vejito Bhikkhave Dhamma Vinayo Vivato Virochati Na Patichannano. O monks, according to the teaching of the Buddha, anything exposed will bright rather than closed. When you closed, germs can grow. Poisonous gas can happen. So therefore expose. Express. That's called confessing. You know, confession. If you are telling, if I have done something wrong to him, I am telling, I'm sorry. At that time I was moved, but therefore, please forgive me. That expression releases everything. So Buddha says, the confession, apatti desana, or when you go to the court, it says, at that time I was under such a situation, I claim I am as a no mistakes, but I am going to tell you, I am a culprit. Please punish me. Then the judge will give the minimum damage, minimum punishment, because you confessed. You are human. But if you are going to argue, then all the parties come and the case is being dragged. So our discussion means confession. He says lucid dream. This person says, I experience no pain. Just express. You also says, sometimes when I'm thinking suppressed. And am I suppressing them? No. Whenever exposed, everything will be a saprophytic. It will be not pathogenic, not germs. So exposure to the sunlight, like exposure to the mindfulness. Under the light of mindfulness, everything is pure. You don't know. You are a fool. Yes. So therefore think, and while thinking, be aware that I am thinking. Awareness is the germ killer. If you are a robber, if you come to my house, if I know you are a robber, then I am safe. If I consider you as my son and let them go and have all the kind of things, then it is not a mistake of the robber. Because the house owner mistake robber as his own son. That is what you call wandering mind. It's a Zen story. Zen, yes. Don't misunderstand the robber as your son in the dusk. You have access to everything. Kumara. Okay. Oh. Tina, the remarks. Do you have any remarks or any?
Yes, Bante, there's one hand was raised. Chandima wants to talk to you, Bante.
Not a long talk, but if Chandima has to report something, please give a chance.
She can talk.
Yeah.
Chandima, you can talk.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah.
I have a question which is somewhat fundamental, but I want to match it to my own practice. So I hope it's not too fundamental, because
Please come out with the question.
Correlate with my
come out with the question.
So the question is, you have said that there are two types of sukha, Avedaita sukha and Niramisa sukha. So Niramisa sukha was existent even before Buddha arrived in this world, and Avedaita sukha was introduced by Buddha. So I'm trying to differentiate between the two in my own meditation.
So you have to understand, you have materialistic pleasure, non-materialistic pleasure, and Avedaita sukha. So we have to first understand people are with the luxuries because they think sukha is with the sukha upabhoga, that means luxuries. But spiritual people means no, they are happy first. They are happy to sit and meditate. So they go for the materialistic to non-materialistic pleasure, spiritual pleasure. So he says he has no pain. So kind of a spiritual pleasure. The other guy, German, says he got a lucid dream, a spiritual pleasure. But still the ego is there. But when you disclaim the ego, pleasure is there, you are not claiming it is me. So can I say you are entertaining the plane, or because you are no more? The plane or pleasure or whatever may be, you interpret in such a way, disclaimer, disavow. Then that is called Avedaita. The person, experiencer, the owner, the director is not there. Pleasure is there. So that kind of removal of the ego is no linear system. You have to do 1,001 times, just it happen effortlessly. Wherever effort is there, ego is there. Whether you are a wholesome or unwholesome, material pleasure, immaterial pleasure. So you have to go to the immaterial pleasure, live in 1,000 of years, or 1,000 times it to happen. Ultimately it will happen naturally. You can't claim, I did it, I experienced it, I see the beginning, the middle and the so much, so you are there. Ego is there. So we are now on the way. Now we have to adjust our livelihood, live in that way, disclaim it, disavow it. That's called sasana. That's called the dispensation of the Buddha. We are exemplifying. At the beginning, I claim, I sit, I do mindfulness and I got it. No pain. Lucid dream. But later it is becoming a day-to-day affair. Effortlessly that happens. Then you can't claim it as me. Then it is Avedaita. So Venerable Sariputta says, the highest pleasure is Avedaita sukha. Then the normal monk asks, Bhante, if it is Avedaita, unexperiencing, how can you say the pleasure? Because all the experienced things are suffering. Because ego-based. You claim. So without Venerable Sariputta, very difficult to answer these questions. But lucky enough, we have that heritage. Avedaita Sukha. Upanita Sayadaw is the expert in explaining it. He always takes the materialistic pleasure. He is a king. He's having all the happiness because so much of people come and give material. But he says, better, I am happy to be with you rather than going to Pinkama and earn something. I am happy with you because you all are meditating. That is immaterial kind of spiritual pleasure. All the religions are there. But they claim God is there. You are the achiever. And it is me. It is mine. It is myself. Shit. You have to do it in such a way. You have to live in a life in such a way. Live with the spiritual people. Learn spiritual Dhamma. Discuss spiritual things. Disclaim. Disavow. And can Western psychology understand this? They are not even born. Because they are healing ego. They are boosting ego. Psychiatrists are the worst case. But in Sri Lanka, in higher education, we try our best, Buddhist psychiatrists, to explain the subject of Avedaita Sukha, inexperienceable pleasure, but it is not self-centered. You are not claiming, I earned it. You are not telling, I am giving. Even the Buddha disclaimed it. So that is something beyond language, beyond rationality, beyond mind. But we can use the term in a poor way, in effortless way. It's a way of life, Taoism. You are no more. With the Taoist master, with this shaggy fellow, chewing beetle and having this thing and riding on the bull. Oh, he's the king in the palace. He don't care. He has no place. He has no identity. People identify with the outside thing because they are talking about the Avedita Sukha. It's beyond language. I hope, Chandima, you can have a glimpse.
Yes, thank you, Bhante.
Yes. We have 15 minutes. Because we have almost come up to the 9:30. So till 9:45, 50 we can go there. Can we ask the most venerable Dhamma Buddha Rakita to lead this to 15 minutes onward compassionately? Please, sir.
We're giving time to the Buddha. I call greed the great flood. I call longing the rapids. The basis, compulsion, the swamp of sensuality hard to overcome. Now, doesn't he summarize what the yogis have been saying so well?
So you are a good contributor.
So this situation again is that the Buddha is trying to resolve a dispute between the Kolyans and the Sakyans over how a flood has moved the boundaries between their properties, between their lands, and now there's a dispute over who owns what land because the floods, the river has changed course. So in this Ganges river valley or basin, this idea of flood is very intimate to people. Like now it's monsoon, so it's very he knows how to speak to the people. So sometimes you have to put your mind into the world, into that time of the metaphors. So this is like a great flood. I call greed the great flood. I call longing the rapids, the basis compulsion, the swamp of sensuality hard to overcome. So we really have to feel these things. Like now, today we've been listening to how the yogis have been reporting their experience. So to experienced practitioners, we hear it and we also feel these experiences too. So now you're beginning to really experience what it is, how greed is a great flood, how longing is like the rapids of the river, how it moves quickly. And that the basis of all of this is what he calls compulsion, or moving against. And the swamp, or the muddiness of sensuality, is hard to overcome. So again, in the Dhammapada, there's a great story about a war elephant that was retired from combat, but it got stuck in the swamp, and the king and all these people couldn't get the war elephant out of the swamp. So he called the head elephant handler, and he knew what to do, which was to start beating the war drums again, and this roused the spirit of this old war elephant, and he was able to pull himself out of the mud. So you're also experiencing in your practice what you've been reporting today, that you've been like going through the muddiness of the mind, all these strange experiences, this, I don't know whether I'm asleep or awake, or I don't know this and that. These are all these kind of strange experiences that meditators run into. And you have to familiarize yourself with this territory and understand that it's the nature of the mind to get swampy, to get muddy, to have longing, and it's rushing forward, that greed can be such a great flood and you're swept away by it. And you start to really understand this poetry that the Buddha is speaking in, because you identify it yourself from your own direct knowledge. And then you realize that his poetry is just a memorable way to memorize, to know and lay out the path, so that he becomes the Tathagata, the one who's like a navigator pointing the way. So I'll just repeat again for Maha Thero. Maybe he can read out the Sinhalese version or the Pali version. I call greed the great flood. I call longing the rapids. the basis, compulsion, the swamp of sensuality, hard to overcome.
Yeah, new terms are there. I mean, shades of meaning. The first one is Geda. Gedang Brumi Maho Goti. Geda means the desire. Is the flood. I mean, it's washing all the banks and all the buildings are washed off. And you know what happened in Shanghai now? In China? Chinese, it's complete flood. And they have to have so much of rescue work in Germany and in England and in European countries. Such a floods happen, and cars are washed off, even the railway lines, and all the things are happening. So they are not prepared. They are happy to live side of the river, very populated, washed off. And whatever with the countries, Mahogha, that means flooding. Ajavam Brumi Jappanang, Arammanam Pakappanang, Kama Panko. The Ajavam, Arammanang, Pakappanang, Kama Panko, all are shades of meaning. In Sinhala is saying, Ajavakaida, Chalpanayakaida, Alambanekaida, Prakampanayadikim. Prakampana means your mind, the proliferation, mental proliferation. Aramana means you focus something. You try to get a fixation. You try to get a benchmark. You try to get a pivotal point. You get a assembly point. In a fire happened to go to the assembly point. So we fix such a thing. But everything washed off with the flood. And Alambana, Aramana, Pakapana, Ajavakya. And it is everything dissolved into the flood water. Your money, your valuables, and everything gone. So likewise, desire is a flood, and whatever anchor, whatever the pivotal point, whatever the benchmark, your identity, you fix so far in your life, everything will be washed off. Without knowing that, people always have a fixed name, fixed passport, fixed bank account, fixed properties, all the kind of thing. Everything will be washed off. When you say there are no feelings, there are no pain, all the identity is gone. All your benchmarks, your boundaries gone. When you are in a lucid dream, no boundaries. You can say in and out. You can say this is me, because everything in a flux. And he says, when the thinking happens, if I see it is thinking, that dissolves. So that is the flood. That is against the sensuous pleasure. It is not a pleasure, but it's a pleasure. It is not with the luxury. It is not with money, it is not females, it is not gambling, it is not trips, drug trips, but it's more than that. Because you know, without meditating, whatever you do, you are earning something succumb to the flood. When the flood happens in the night, you don't know. But whenever you see something beyond the flood, something beyond your egotistic idea, imagination and the daydreaming and the boundaries, there is something existing. While you are living, you can go into that temporarily. You can dig a hole, you can dig a tunnel, but you feel like something wrong. You feel like not me or not natural. But the Buddha said that is your nature, your intrinsic nature. But now you are in a daydream or night dream. And your other fellows are facilitating you to be in the dream. They are mad. But the Buddha is there. He says, darling, this is childish sand play. You make houses and kind of thing, the children. Oh, this is like pleasure of a barbaric. But even the barbarians, even the children, they have this birthright. No one is showing because they think that shower is the Almighty God. He is the one decided. Buddha says, no, human. Within you, that Almighty God is there. Within you, the Buddha is there. Within you, the Dhamma is there. Occasionally you go there, you feel like stranger. But that's the place, your real home. That's your real nature. So, Lao Tzu, when he's talking, he talked to that real nature. Tao. And the Quran and the Old Testament, New Testament, Mahabharata, everyone is talking. Misinterpreted. Misinterpreted. Even these books, they think they are the authority people, and even Bhikkhu Bodhi is accepting this is a very good translation. But Bhikkhu Bodhi is giving still furtherance, still refinement. You can't refine and go to the end, but you can experience it. That experience 1 ounce is better than tons of books. Because that is something you cross. And you get it under the nose. It is no more far away. It is not, you have not to go to the Saudi Arabia and go to the Al-Hajj pilgrim. Not to go to India. Kind of thing. It is here. But what the religions are telling. Go to that place, it's a holy place. There's a person, holy place. This is a holy book. They make it holy. External. Most intrinsic thing is this is internal. As far as you are external, you are absence. You are deprived of your paradise. Therefore, Thomas Merton, he says, if you are innocent, you are in the paradise. If you are smart and if you are arrogant and if you are going to say, I am so and so, you are deprived of the paradise. So today learned people are all deprived of the paradise because they have eaten the apple computer. You see the bite? They have eaten the knowledge. Deprived. But you are born with your intrinsic, the happy nature, beginner's mind. The Buddha is now telling mother and father's clan is about to kill each other. 2 times he stopped it. But now he knows. He can't look at, he can't believe his eyes. So he is contemplating. Such a flood. They earned everything. Now it will taken the flood by the sleeping village. The whole thing will be washed off. Who can save you? But for the wise person, this indicates your limit, your knowledge is limited. Flood will come at any time. You can't stop it. So your arrogance and your knowledge, everything is trivial. Just be prepared of the flood. But Dhamma flood also occasionally happen. You are in a lucid dream. You are in a no one's place. And you see you are tunneling. But you are tunneling to the reality. Your real nature. I call, when you become unmindful, when the mind come back to your primary object, I call way back home. Understand? So that is what Zen says, wherever you may be, you are on the way back home. Utterly in vain. That is why you are suffering. Your knowledge and your memory is utter shit. Buddha says it's a shit. People are living it. History is utterly bullshit. Geography is bullshit. Physics, chemistry, biology, shit. Because it is not in the present moment. That is what you all are teaching in the school. Misleading all children. Their childish nature killed. You have to stay 35 minutes. 35 people in the one room. What an asylum. But in our discussion, it is no. Everyone is the same. Everyone teaching everyone. We are learning. We are not teaching. It's a learning technique. So I am very happy because you all are coming from different cultures and you are coming from different histories and utterly generously sharing. Generously sharing. And there's a huge people around us, they are appreciating it. Bhante, you are opening the doors now. Everyone can come. Everyone can share. We are not charging anything. Many people, they are busy. They have no time to come to the discussion. Never mind, he comes daily. He is asking, Bhante, tomorrow is a Tuesday. Are we going to meet? Even we too available, we continue. Today we are happy. different kinds of talk, I will try maximum to erase your memory and make you no one. Not a identity, not me, and not me, boundaries gone. So, 1 minute more. American?
Thank you, Swaminatha, and thank you for all those who participated. I don't know. I enjoy meditating and reporting to you.
I'm just learning.
I'm just learning all the time. So this was a great discussion. Thank you. Sadhu,
that
sadhu,
appreciation
sadhu.
we appreciate. That's a very, very beautiful, like blooming, like a child. We just we appreciate Buddha, we appreciate Dhamma, we appreciate Sangha, we appreciate Sila. So we are on the way back home. Thank you very much for the participation.